Tina, thank you so much. Tomorrow is yours. Tomorrow is mine, right? To live is a blessing. To love is divine. Perfect words. Thank you. One of the things I always tried to teach my children was that imagination is more important than knowledge. And in fact, I got some mugs that have that on it. It's something Albert Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. And the mugs have a picture of a tightrope walker who's holding the pole. The pole is actually a pencil, and the tightrope walker tilts the pencil to draw the line as they walk. And that's what we do in life. That's what we do as individuals, as a faith community, as a society. We are drawing the path we walk as we walk it. And so how do we do this? How do we manage to do this? Well, just over the horizon, just beyond where we can see, beyond where the rope is already in place, beyond the path we know, there is the life we long for and the world we long for. And we can often see the things that we need to learn to get to that place. We can usually see the obstacles that are in our way. But what we often forget is that it's our vision of the future that helps us find and stay on that path. When change comes into our life, and it always does, that's when we most need vision, and that's when it can be most difficult to find. So I'm new, right? I'm new here. I'm in many respects an unknown quantity. I like you already. This has been an amazing experience coming to Des Moines, Iowa. And one of the things that I realized after I got here is that I am actually one half native Iowan. My dad was born in Des Moines. Now, my dad just died this summer at the age of 90, and he was one of the most caring, loving, gracious people it has ever been my opportunity to know, perhaps matched only by my mother. I have been very fortunate in the parental lottery. When I came here, I realized that there is a kind of graciousness, a kind of warmth, a kind of welcome that is like the way my dad was in the world. And I'm wondering, he only was here until he was 2. But maybe his parents were influenced by whatever it is you have here. And so he grew up to be that way. But it is a really strange experience. The circle closes and it's beautiful. It's also a little bit like coming home in a way I've not experienced before. So I am really glad to be here. And I've already started learning things I did not expect. One of the things about the interim period is that often people are a little anxious about what's going to happen. And that is absolutely typical. It's been a well-studied phenomenon. There's a little bit of a disequilibrium that immediately occurs when a retired minister who served for a long time has left and a new minister walks in the door. One of the reasons we do interim ministry, not just in Unitarian Universalism, but in many faith traditions, is because of that disequilibrium. It takes a bit of time, really about 2 years, for people to learn what it is that will make their partnership with the next settled senior minister successful. But at the beginning, it can be a little weird. So I want to share a story that is a true story. It didn't happen to me, though. It happened to one of my colleagues who also, like me, is a professional interim minister. So the first Sunday, much like this today, the new interim minister had the order of service with 3 hymns. The next Sunday, the order of service had only 2 hymns. And the third Sunday, there were 3 hymns. So as the people were going out, one man said to another, and it was reported back to my colleague, the first Sunday it was 3 hymns. The next Sunday it was 2 hymns. This Sunday it's 3 hymns again. What will become of us? The answer, of course, is that you're going to be fine. And it's inevitable that a new interim minister, a new minister, is going to bring change. We can't help it. We're just not the same person. You can tell I'm not Mark Stringer. I mean, for one thing, Mark would be using, this microphone. I can't even really speak into it. So yes, I'm not nearly as tall as Mark. And there are other differences, many other differences. And so I cannot be minister here. I cannot minister here and do it in the same way. It's impossible. And that's true no matter what new minister might walk in the door. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's possible, just as if you have more than one dog or cat or more than one child, you actually can love them all. And this, if we go back to the tightrope, if we can think of the interim time, what does it mean, interim? It's the time between the moment things change and the moment we're once again on the path to the life we imagine and the life we long for. So there's this disequilibrium, and we're in that bubble of disequilibrium. But think of the tightrope. The interim time is the time when the tightrope walker, drawing that path with the pencil, pauses for a moment and recaptures their balance. And this is what we're doing in this time together. It's true in our congregational life that we need a moment, a pause between settled senior ministers so that we can regain our balance and know who we are again and know where the path is that we seek to follow. That's true not only in our life together as a faith community, it's also true in the personal life of each one of us. Whenever things change, we need to pause and find, in that moment of disequilibrium, find our balance again. And then continue drawing the path ahead. So I'm here as your interim senior minister because I love this time in congregational life when there's a disequilibrium, but I know I've seen it happen and I have so much faith. And after meeting so many of you, I now have confidence in you that as we share this journey together, you will find your balance beautifully and you will draw the path that is really your path. It won't be my path. It won't be Mark Stringer's path. It won't be the path of the next settled senior minister. It will be your path. And I'm here to accompany you on this journey through this bubble of disequilibrium. For the next 2 years, as you grapple with change and begin again to draw your path to the church you long for and to the world you long for, I am your companion on the journey. And his work I love. When we think about a retired senior minister, someone like Mark, who's served for 16 years, he's got an investment in this interim time. That investment is to hope that this congregation will come out of it thriving and ready to bond and partner with a wonderful new settled senior minister. Whatever legacy Mark seeks to see continued, it's not a legacy of the things that he specifically did or chose or said. It's a legacy of this thriving faith community, this really committed body of people who are in covenant with one another and who seek to share our Unitarian Universalist values with the world. So the future of First Unitarian, the legacy of Mark Stringer, really is to honor that partnership through being amazing. And I know you're already on your way. So sometimes people ask me, why interim ministry? Why did you choose that? Well, I want you to know that twice in my life, I opened a fortune cookie and got this message both times. Life to you is a bold adventure. The first time I got it, I loved it so much, I actually put it up on my wall above my desk. Eventually I moved and I lost the piece of paper, and then I got another fortune cookie with the same message. So, yes, that's who I am. This is an adventure to me. Move to a new place, completely discombobulate your home life with boxes, meet 475 or more new people, learn new ways of doing things, share some best practices from other congregations, help to make Unitarian Universalism strong and meaningful and effective in the world by helping our congregations get through this interim journey. That is an adventure to me. And I finally figured out after, doing some other things. I was a lawyer, I was in international development, I was a law professor, and I was a settled minister. But when I realized what interim ministry was all about, it called to me, and I answered. So I'm here. And my hope is that together we will help not just First Unitarian flourish, but Unitarian Universalism flourish. So one of the things about a new minister coming in is that if you think of congregational life as kind of a jigsaw puzzle with all of these pieces that interlock, so take away the piece that was the retired senior minister, and now, here I come, and I'm not going to fit exactly in that shape, right? This is like the story of Chester's Way and Lily coming in, right? I'm going to teach you to pop wheelies. So, and there will be times when you say, I don't want to pop wheelies, or when the most unexpected thing that I do, the thing that seems maybe like it's not a big deal, suddenly makes you go, what will become of us? And the answer is, if you can just pause, regain your balance, and then there will be times when I will beg you, please tell me what it is that troubles you. Tell me what you like. Tell me what troubles you. Tell me what was unsettling. And, we'll get through it. And the best part of all this practice with the disequilibrium and finding our balance again is that you're going to get to do it all over again in 2 years. So we're really we're practicing together the kinds of, responsiveness and engagement and agency that you'll need to really bond effectively with that new senior minister who will arrive about 2 years from now. It always amazes me, some of the things that are surprises. So let me tell you a story about what happened to me at the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Fairfax, Virginia. So it was the first, my first Sunday. And as ministers usually do, with the others who took part in the service, I headed to the back door, ready to shake hands with people as they went out. And so a few people, as they came out, shook my hands, and then a few people started saying, "You're standing on the wrong side." So when the first person said that, I thought, well, gee, what do they mean? Then after a couple, I realized that I had taken a position on sort of, if the sanctuary's there and the exit is there, I was standing just to the left, just to the right. I was the other way, to the right of the exit. As they went out, I was on their right. But they were used to having their minister stand on the left. And so after a few people, I figured this out. And I thought, this is amazing. I wonder how many people are going to mention this to me. And finally, after 8 or 10 people had said something, I moved to the other side of the door. I could see that even though they were happy and they were friendly and they were shaking my hand and smiling, it bothered them enough that they mentioned it. And they said it this way: "You're standing on the wrong side." So, and I think we can all just pause for a moment and say there actually isn't a right or wrong side, as long as we're standing on the side of love, okay? But I get it. It felt weird. And it's odd how many rhythmic, typical, routine things that there are in congregational life, and I will be totally unaware. And so you'll get to educate me a little, but you'll also be a little shaken up. And that's part of what the interim period is about, is to get past the times when you're a little shaken up and maybe see that it's possible to do things in a different way. I remember the first time I ever bought one of those flashlights that was powered by shaking, right? And it wasn't actually all that effective as a flashlight because you had to shake it like mad. But when the lights went out, my son was just a kid. He ran down to the drawer where the flashlight always lives, and he found it. He said, "Mom, the flashlight's out of batteries. Where are the batteries?" I said, "It doesn't have batteries. You just shake it." And he shook it like this, and he said, "Awesome!" And it's like, yeah, something new. It can be disconcerting, but it can also be awesome. And so you'll get to figure out what's disconcerting but awesome, and what's disconcerting but, oh, please, let's go and talk to this interim minister and say, we'd rather you didn't do this anymore. I need to know what you want more of, what you want to stay about the same, and what you'd like to see a little less of. You need to tell me, because how else will I know? I mean, I didn't even realize, I'd never had the thought before that I was one half native Iowan until I'd been in Des Moines for a few weeks. Imagine that. It never occurred to me. So I'm learning new things all the time. And for better or worse, so will you. And we're going to make this be an opportunity to grow, to thrive, to experience life together in a way that we haven't ever experienced it before. Because how could we? I'm new to you and you are new to me. So it's like never before. Tomorrow is yours and tomorrow is mine. In 2 years, I will be preaching another sermon to you, and it will also be titled Beginning Again. But in 2 years, I'll be saying goodbye, because that will be an ending as well as a beginning, just as this moment is an ending as well as a beginning. But I will be reflecting back to you in that sermon some of the life lessons I have gained from you, what I have learned by being here. And so I just want to say some of the life lessons I've learned from other congregations include learning how to be engaged continuously, even through the rough spots, the bumpy parts of the road. And I'll be looking to see for the ways that members here are actively in covenant together and willing to begin again in love if there's a misunderstanding. I'll learn here how people deal with confusion and disagreement and difference. And part of my life lessons from other congregations is that people can deal well with confusion and disagreement and difference. Disagreement does not mean disrespect. That's one of my life lessons. And I hope to see that here. Because there will be disagreement, because we're all going to be realigning those jigsaw pieces together. And so we're going to have to figure it out. One of the things that is a life lesson for me that comes specifically from doing this interim work is to see that people adapt and flourish when change reverberates through their lives. It is amazing. It is a gift to see this happening. And I'm sure I will see that here as well. One of the things I invite you to notice as we move forward on this journey together is the ways in which change and transition in congregational life mirrors the way that change and transition show up in our personal lives. It is the same phenomenon. We can't escape the disequilibrium of change. As long as we're alive, we can't escape change. But what we can do is find ways to thrive, to learn, to grow, to extend our love out farther and farther to more people each day, so that we are truly a welcoming, warm congregation that accepts people as their authentic selves and encourages everyone to find ways to extend this love out into the world. If we live our values, then our respect for one another and our respect for all people becomes visible in what we do. If we live as if we expect to learn from the differences we encounter, as if we expect to grow from encountering those differences, then we begin treating difference as a creative opportunity to learn and grow. And if we need to, we begin again in love. That's the foundation of our covenant together. With all of my being, I want the best for this vibrant, warm congregation. I want to walk away from here in 2 years and know that you're not just going to be fine, you're going to be even more amazing than you are right now. I've heard a lot of good stories about you, and I'm really excited to be on this journey with you, to be your companion along the way, and to see what vision of the future First Unitarian is drawing as it walks its path and sometimes has to stop and catch its balance. We're all on that journey together, and we can really know it and feel it and live it when we're together like this in one room. My blessings on you all, my love for you all as we begin our journey together. Amen, and blessed be.